My name is Margaret Hayes, and I was 63 years old when I died while loading my dishwasher. No thunder, no car crash, no warning. Just a quiet Tuesday morning in my kitchen in Georgia. Sunlight streaming through lace curtains, the radio humming an old country song, and the smell of coffee still hanging in the air. One moment, I was rinsing a cup and thinking about calling my daughter later that afternoon. The next, something soft and strange popped behind my eyes. It wasn't painful, more like a light bulb flickering out. The world tilted, the sound of running water faded, and suddenly everything went black. Death, it turns out, isn't always loud. Sometimes it's as ordinary as rinsing dishes. But that ordinary morning became the doorway to something vast, breathtaking, and full of love. An encounter that changed how I see everything about life, loss, and what truly matters. Before that day, my life was simple and good. I lived with my husband, Thomas, in a little brick house on the outskirts of Savannah, Georgia. We'd been married 40 years, long enough to finish each other's sentences and still argue about how to load the dishwasher properly. We had 2 grown children, Emily and Jacob, both with families of their own. My days were filled with small, ordinary joys. Tending my garden, baking peach cobbler for the neighbors, volunteering at the church thrift shop. My faith was steady, polite, and predictable. I believed in God. I prayed before bed. I went to church on Sundays, but he often felt like someone far away, a great king in the clouds rather than a close friend in my kitchen. Life was peaceful, uneventful, and I was content with that. Until that morning, I remember looking down from above and seeing my body collapsed by the dishwasher. My hand was still gripping a blue mug, water pooling across the tile floor, and then I saw Thomas burst into the room. His face twisted in panic as he dropped to his knees beside me, shouting my name, trying to shake me awake. I could feel his heartbreak like waves, but I couldn't reach him. I tried to say, "I'm here, love. Don't cry. I'm right here." But no sound came. And then something pulled me, gently, like a warm tide. The kitchen, the floor, the sound of his voice, all of it faded. I was surrounded by a peace I'd never known. There was no ceiling, no ground, no sense of direction. Just light, not bright, not blinding, but alive. It hummed with love. I felt lighter than air. Every worry I'd ever carried, money, family, guilt, fear, slipped away like sand through my fingers. I wasn't a body anymore. I was awareness. I was being. And then, in the distance, I saw a glow. It began small like a star at dawn, but it grew warmer, brighter, until I felt it wrapping around me like a mother's embrace. I wasn't afraid. I was home. As the light came closer, it took form. Not of fire, but of living radiance. And from that radiance stepped a figure, not a man in robes or sandals, but light in the shape of a man. It shimmered with colors I can't describe, gold, white, soft blue, and something beyond sight. When I looked into his face, I saw the stars themselves reflected in his eyes. My soul recognized him before my mind could name him. It was Jesus. There was no need for introductions. The moment our eyes met, every hidden corner of my heart was laid bare. Every mistake, every act of kindness, every selfish thought, every quiet prayer. And instead of shame, I felt love. Love so powerful, It could break a mountain in two and still hold a sparrow gently in its hand. He smiled. Not the kind of smile you see, but one you feel deep in your bones. "Welcome home, Margaret," he said, his voice like both thunder and a whisper. Be at peace. For what felt like eternity and an instant, we simply stood there. No words, no explanations, just perfect understanding. And then he said softly, "I have 3 questions for you. These are the same questions I ask of every soul who stands before me." I nodded, trembling, not from fear, but from awe. The first question, "Did you let me love you?" I was caught off guard. I thought he would ask, "Did you love me?" That's what I'd expected all my life. But he asked if I had let him love me. I started to answer the way I'd always thought I should. "Lord, I tried. I went to church. I prayed. I tried to be a good person." He raised his hand gently, and light flowed from his fingertips, silencing my excuses. "That is how you tried to love me," he said, "but I asked, did you let me love you?" Then he showed me. Moments from my life unfolded before me, each one alive with feeling. I saw myself praying through tears, but never once pausing to listen. I saw how I carried guilt like armor, believing I had to earn forgiveness instead of receive it. He showed me nights when I lay awake, hating myself for small failures, and there he was, right beside me, his love pouring out like a river, waiting for me to open the gate. I wept, realizing how I'd lived believing in God, but never resting in his love. "No," I whispered, "I didn't let you. I didn't think I was worthy." He smiled. "It is the hardest thing to do, Margaret, to simply let yourself be loved." Then came the second question. "Did you see me in the people I sent to you?" At first I nodded eagerly. "Of course, Lord. I tried to be kind, to help, to serve." Again he showed me truth instead of words. I saw myself walking past a man outside the grocery store, his hands trembling, asking for spare change. I'd given him $1 without looking him in the eye. I saw my neighbor, widowed and lonely, inviting me to coffee. I'd been too busy that day. I saw my husband trying to talk after a long, hard shift while I scrolled through my phone. And I saw my daughter crying over her divorce while I offered advice instead of quiet understanding. Then Jesus said, "I was there, Margaret, in all of them. In the ones you helped, and in the ones you hurried past. I was waiting for you to see me." The weight of that truth crushed me and lifted me at the same time. Tears streamed down as I whispered, "I didn't see you. I saw inconvenience. I saw flaws. I saw myself." He touched my face with light and said, "The world is full of me, hiding in plain sight. To see me, you must look with the eyes of your heart." Then he looked at me with infinite tenderness and asked the third question. "What did you do with the wounds I allowed?" My heart trembled. I thought of scars on my hands, the ache in my knees, but I knew that wasn't what he meant. Then he showed me the wound that had shaped my life. When I was 24, I lost my baby son, Samuel, just 3 days after he was born. The grief was unbearable. For decades, I carried that pain like a stone buried deep in my chest. I built a wall around it so no one could touch it. I told myself that was strength. Then Jesus showed me how that wound had followed me, how it closed me off from others' pain. I saw a young mother at church years later who lost her child. I'd hugged her, said, "I am praying for you," and walked away because I couldn't bear to open my own wound again. He showed me how my pain, if I'd shared it, could have been medicine for her heart. Your wounds, he said, were never punishments. They were gifts, sacred tools meant to heal others. In that moment, I understood. Our pain isn't meant to be hidden. It's meant to be transformed into compassion. I sobbed. "I failed you," I said. I failed all three, but his smile didn't fade. He drew me into his arms, arms of light, arms of eternity, and whispered, "This is not judgment, little one. It is awakening. You have seen now what love truly is. You will return and live the answers." I shook my head, begging, "Please, Lord, don't make me go back. I want to stay here. I want to stay with you." He held me close. "I know," he said gently, "but your family still needs you. Go and show them what love looks like." The next instant, I felt myself pulled backward through the light. The peace dissolved into noise, alarms, voices, cold air. My chest burned, my eyes opened. A nurse shouted, "She's back!" Thomas was beside me, sobbing uncontrollably, clutching my hand like a man gripping the edge of a cliff. Later, they told him I'd been gone for 11 minutes. No pulse, no oxygen, no reason I should have come back whole. They called it a miracle, but I knew better. It was mercy. It's been 2 years since that day. My hair is whiter now, my steps slower, but every morning feels like borrowed light. I see the world differently, not as a list of chores or worries, but as a miracle unfolding in small, ordinary moments. I keep those 3 questions close to my heart, and sometimes I whisper them to myself when I'm doing something simple, folding laundry, driving to the store, holding my granddaughter's tiny hand. And today, I want to ask you the same 3 questions that Jesus asked me. First, are you letting him love you? Not trying to impress him or earn his grace, but letting his love wash over you exactly as you are. You are not too old, too broken, or too far gone. His love isn't waiting for you to become better. It's waiting for you to open your heart. Second, do you see him in the people around you? In the face of your neighbor? In the tired eyes of the cashier? In the friend who calls too often? In the stranger who makes you uncomfortable? He is there, disguised in the very people who test your patience or tug at your compassion. And third, what will you do with your wounds? The pain you've carried, the betrayal, the grief, the loneliness may not be curses after all. Maybe they're invitations. Maybe God allowed them so you could comfort someone walking through the same dark valley. My friend, heaven isn't just the place we go when we die. It's a way of living, right here, right now. When we let ourselves be loved, when we see Christ in others, and when we turn our pain into compassion, we're already walking in heaven's light. That day, when Jesus held me, I begged not to leave. But now I understand why he sent me back. Love isn't meant to be kept. It's meant to be lived. So when your own time comes, when your eyes close to this world and open to the next, and he looks into your soul with those eyes of infinite love, you'll know the questions. And if you've lived with love, even imperfectly, you'll already know the answer. Because heaven isn't far away. It's closer than your next breath.